Indiana's Puerto Rico trip is over, and game three, their final game of this trip, ended a lot like game two ended. And I didn't listen to the recap that you and Dion, is it you and Dion who did the recap of the
Yeah.
Indiana game two? I didn't
Mhm.
listen to what you guys said, but I imagine most of the things that I'm going to say in this video probably reflect things you said after game two. It was another poor first half for the Hoosiers. This Hoosiers team, after falling behind and completing a massive 40-point comeback in game two, fell behind immediately again. They were down 14 to 3, 21 to 5, 26 to 7 in the first quarter of game three against Mega Superbet, the same team that they played in game two. At halftime, they were down 20, 50 to 30. Lamar Wilkerson and Tucker DeVries were both scoreless in the first half. Shout out to Tate and Conaway for trying to keep the team in it in the first half. 18 points of his own at halftime, but suddenly it flipped again. The script of the second half was identical to the script of the second half of game two. Indiana stormed back with a huge third quarter. They completed a massive comeback. I will say, unlike game two, where Indiana created big separation at the end, this came down to the final seconds. Indiana was down 80 to 79 with a minute to go. Mega Superbet with a turnover with just over 20 seconds left. And we got to get a look for the first time at what will happen with this Indiana team. Who is the guy? What are the roles? Who are we going to play through in a one possession game when it matters? And at least in the very first version of this situation, it was Lamar Wilkerson who had the ball. He drove right, drew the defense, kind of, I don't know, clogged up the paint a little bit, had a dump off pass to Reed Bailey for the game sealing dunk. Indiana won by 1 point. The end of this game, unofficially, of course, based on who was keeping stats in the gym, it was Tate and Conaway who led the team with 18 points, all of which came in the first half. Lamar Wilkerson had 17, all of which came in the second half. Sam Alexis and Tucker DeVries chipping in 15 and 13, respectively, on their own. Cart, what is it with this team? Why did this happen twice in a row?
Well, first off, to Mega Superbet, big man, always help over, never help up. That's how you get dished off or done from Reed Bailey there. But um, you know, in these games, unfortunately, because you're not at least us, speaking for us, we're not able to watch kind of full games and how they're operated. It's hard to get a complete feel on how this game is approached, right? Like as far as what Indiana's doing stylistically that is it more of a vanilla approach given like what this team is? Obviously, you see the minute distribution. And this one is a little bit different. It seemed like, some guys were kind of, Wilkerson and DeVries both were over 30. But in most of the games on this trip, I feel like everyone's kind of hovered over 20 to 25 minutes. Like they've been playing a lot of people, different lineups. But I think you have been able to get an idea of, at least in my opinion, what this how different this Indiana team I think is going to look. One, I just think kind of corny, but at the same time, I think it's noticeable that this team just kind of has a different feel about them compared to like a Mike Woodson team. Like I made jokes about it, but there was kind of sometimes of a sleepy, I don't really know if we care about basketball as much feel to some of those Mike Woodson Indiana teams as of recently. Dion made the point the other day when we were talking about game two. Last year's Indiana team gets down by 20. They're worried about getting out of there, getting in the showers, and getting to the blackjack tables. This team's a little bit different. You know what I'm saying? There's a little bit of more competitive fire. I thought in this game specifically, the box score showed it, but I love Conaway's energy in all these games that I've seen. I think he's going to be a real good change of pace from previous Indiana point guards. Maybe I don't think on the same level talent wise, maybe, but I just think the way he plays the game, I think is going to be beneficial to this team. And just like looking at Indiana in a bigger like landscape for me, the combination of Wilkerson and DeVries is going to be one of like the better two-person combos in this league. Like I know you got the big dogs in the league, obviously, right? But I feel like it's kind of overlooked that they have players that are as talented and able to score the basketball as well as Wilkerson and DeVries are able to do. I also think DeVries needs to maybe get in a little bit better game shape, but like when it gets down to it by game time, by season time, I think like that 1-2 punch is going to be really good for the Hoosiers.
Yeah, possible for sure. I want to just begin by giving my general thoughts on summer college basketball overseas trip games and how much they matter. You know that I like to overreact to anything we see on a basketball court. I think it's fun to respond and act like little moments matter. But this can't get out of my head for some reason. A year ago, we were sitting here watching Michigan State in Spain in an empty gym against, respectfully, I don't remember who they were playing. I don't think they were playing anybody as good as Mega Superbet. Like
Mhm.
I just off eye test from what I saw in highlights, it looked like Michigan State was playing a couple recreational type professional teams and then maybe one organized team. But Michigan State lost a game, like comfortably lost a game last year. And I remember coming out of it just being like, this team stinks. And then they won the Big Ten by 3 games, made an Elite Eight. Like I don't think you should draw any serious conclusions from a summer overseas trip performance where coaches are just trying to figure out what they've got, right? Everybody played on this Indiana trip. So, like, you could overreact to either side of this, right? You could overreact to the first half and say, damn, they got down 20 twice in a row to a team that looks good, but certainly this isn't like FC Barcelona. Or you could flip and be like, well, they won all 3 games. Look at the grit to come back and play together, and what a culture changer. I don't know. I think we learned who Indiana's best players are on this trip, and I feel strongly that that's going to translate to the season. Good luck trying to figure out if this means Indiana's going to finish in the top 4 in the Big Ten or in the bottom 4 of the Big Ten. I have no idea. I have no idea what would happen if Purdue played this team 3 times. I have no idea what would happen if Rutgers played this team 3 times. Um, to me, the important takeaway broadly is this, which I think Dion hit on and you alluded to. The culture has already changed. Like for the story of this trip to be a bunch of new faces. Because reminder, Indiana returns 0 players from last season. It's not like they have a Namari Burnett hanging around from the Juwan era to Dusty May. They have 0 new or 0 old faces. It's all new. And to try to get those guys all on the same page with a big picture vision is probably very difficult. And it seems like Darren DeVries has already done a really good job of that because it would be really, really, really easy to be down 20 in Puerto Rico and just lose the game and say this wasn't our night. I'm impressed by the toughness. I'm impressed by the togetherness. I'm impressed by the basketball ability, especially in game 2, to flip a game where you're down 20 to up 20. That's hard to do no matter who you're playing. But in this game, especially, I'm impressed they were able to make the plays late. I mean, still down 6 with 4 minutes left. This felt like, especially after game 2, where Superbet was probably mentally, I don't know, unprepared for a furious comeback, to do it twice in a row. Like, I got to think Superbet's in the huddle being like, not again. We cannot lose our focus again. And for Indiana to still overcome it was impressive to me. And that's a culture win early for Darren DeVries.
Yeah, I think that you were able to take some little things from this. Maybe looking big, big picture wise, Indiana could be a streaky basketball team. They definitely shot more threes than they did with last year's team, but that was kind of assumed given the personnel. But it's going to be a different look to it. I think Lamar Wilkerson's really fun to watch. Even coming down to that last play, nice little kind of jab rocker step type thing, and read the defense, dished it off to Reed Bailey for the dunk at the end. Game 2, he was a little bit more efficient and just like kind of takeover mode as far as how he was able to get it going. But yeah, I think that you were, at least, if anything, you were able to see that the Indiana team is going to be operating different and approach games differently. And that could mean a wide variety of outcomes for what it looks like during the season.
Yeah, right. Can we go through the players that I think have clearly separated themselves as the best players on this team?
Yes,
Number 1, do we have the same answer? Who's the best player on this team?
it's Lamar Wilkerson.
It's Lamar Wilkerson. Now, you talked streaky. That's why the team's streaky, I think. I think Lamar Wilkerson is going to be one of the highest volume shooters in all of America. And the early impressions here are that there will be nights that he will be unstoppable and make everything. And then there will be nights where didn't he start like 1 for 9 in game one or something?
Something like
Like
that, yeah.
I think he finished I just had the box score in front of me. It wasn't his most efficient game in game three. Let me pull it up just
I think
to
it's
have
five
this
for
right.
15, 5 for 13.
Yeah, 5 for 15, 3 for 11 on threes. Played 34 minutes. So like I let's be clear about one thing with Wilkerson, which is an obvious takeaway from this. Because this, again, this is where you're playing everyone. You're not even like locked into your rotation playing your dogs. You're playing everyone. Lamar Wilkerson is gonna get shots up. Like that's gonna be the identity of this Indiana team. Clearly, they want to shoot more threes. That's fun for the fans. But like, dog, he said it when he committed to Indiana, when he chose Indiana over Kentucky. I want to go somewhere. I'm the guy. We laughed at that at the time. I don't know if it means you're going to be awesome if Lamar Wilkerson is your guy shooting 20 shots a game. In fact, I think he's probably going to have nights where he's really, really cold and probably shoots you to losses. But that's going to be the identity of this team, I think, is Lamar Wilkerson gunning shots, running actions for him. And God forbid you catch Indiana on a night where Wilkerson can't miss. They're going to be really tough to beat.
Yeah. And look, that's I guess like you kind of accept that. I feel like the one thing, if that's gonna be how you play and how you want to operate, I think you just you gotta kind of accept what comes with that. Now, I mean, we can keep on going here. There's other players on this team that do have ability, but yeah, there was no, I think, even doubt in my mind that Lamar Wilkerson is what he said he's going to be. He's the guy on this team.
Yeah. And then number two, Tucker.
Tucker.
And
Yep.
then number three, I like Connerway.
I was gonna. It's so it started off as Bailey for me. I'm leaning more Conway
Bailey's fallen out of my top four.
out of like not he's out of the four.
Yeah, I think Connerway and Sam Alexis have separated themselves. I'm really, really impressed with Alexis after this trip.
I was I think compared to what I thought they were going to be coming into the trip, I would put Alexis one.
Yeah, I mean,
I legit didn't think he would do anything.
I just from my test, and you can look at numbers too. I think Alexis looks like their best post player, which
Mm,
again, much like I said with Wilkerson, if Sam Alexis is your best post player, how good are you?
mm.
Like I will be honest with you. I know I'm not trying to do this. I'm trying to remember what I said about Michigan State last year. But like just saying these out loud. Team that has Lamar Wilkerson best player, shoot 20 shots a game, Sam Alexis best post player. I don't think that team's any good. But
Unless, and here's where it comes full circle. DeVries is one of those guys.
he could be.
He's one of those guys that really changes kind of everything. And obviously, like he had the pedigree back when he was at Drake, right? And even in his 1 year at West Virginia, like up and down kind of season, probably should have made the NCAA tournament. But like Javon Small was incredible for that team, and they lost Tucker DeVries. So it could look a little bit similar, maybe, in kind of how it. I mean, I don't know. I'm trying to do like a little one to one like West Virginia to Indiana type situation here. If Tucker was healthy, they had the high usage guy. I don't know if it would have been different. Like Javon Small would have played Robin to Tucker DeVries' Batman. Kind of a interesting big on the team, like Sam Alexis, Amani Hansberry type situation. I don't know. I feel like the ceiling of this team might not be what the players do as much so as like what how DeVries operates in this.
For sure. I think the hard part is outside of the four I mentioned. If you want to throw Reed Bailey in with him, fine. I mean, that look, there are other guys. Alexa Ristich looks like he might be a role player on this team. He was on the floor late, making some big plays.
Yeah.
I really did like what I saw from Trent Sisley this week. I think Trent Sisley has a very bright future, but I also don't think Trent Sisley's ready to start on a good Big Ten team right now. Um, you know,
I like Nick Dorn. I know people feel different about him too. So what his role will be, I think, but he
yeah,
will be a contributor.
he's got to get back. I really liked Conway. Like I said, I mean, it seems Connor Enright's going to play a lot. He fouled out in back-to-back games on this trip. Um, I gonna do the thing. I make it all about me again. The team this roster reminds me of after this overseas trip is the early era Beeline teams. that had two stars and a bunch of role players who weren't all that good.
Hmm.
Like Manny Harris is Lamar Wilkerson. Go shoot 20 times a game and get 30. Tucker DeVries is your number two. Deshaun Sims, really productive guy. Cool. Then you got a bunch of Connor Enrights. And I think like Connorway's good. Don't get me wrong. Connorway is good. Reed Bailey will be productive some games. Sam Alexis is, I really like him, glue guy. But this team is going to come down to like, does Wilkerson make his shots or miss his shots? And I think that's going to be wildly swinging game to game. And honestly, I think that's why this trip went the way it did. Like, dude, how do you look at game three and Wilkerson and Tucker get you zero combined in the first half? That's crazy. And then I get they played great in the second half, but like, good Lord, you know?
Puerto Rico slaps.
Okay, just maybe a few too many daiquiris.
And big comeback. Big comeback.
Sure.
Off day Sunday.
Sure. Yeah, makes sense. All right.
Playing the same team. Like look, I'm picturing you and me in that situation. We just came back against the team free Sunday. Tell me we're not getting a mojito at the beach.
Sure. For sure. Overall, stock up or down for Indiana after this trip? I had them, I think you and I did the segment together. We had them 12th in our Big Ten preseason rankings a week ago.
Mhm.
So stock up, stock down, stock neutral coming off of this trip.
Up for me. Up for me. I just think that for me, and I guess this comes from a point too where I consider myself a Lamar Wilkerson guy. So I'm willing to like hitch myself to that being good enough and the other pieces and Coach DeVries being a good coach. Uh that yeah, stock up. I think that this team is a top 10 Big Ten team. So not crazy stock up, but I think they'll finish in the top 10.
Stock up for me. They feel like a bubble team to me right now. Could end up firmly in the tournament for sure. Darren DeVries might just be a dude. He has my attention after this. Like, I do think it takes a coach with some shit to him to get a group of all new players down 22 games in a row to lock in and come back and win those games. That's wildly impressive. And at minimum, Indiana's program's vibes have risen exponentially from where they were at last year to what they are coming out of this trip. 3-0. Look like you got some stars. Like, seems like a good time to be an Indiana fan again.